I still remember the exact second my world ended. It was a Tuesday afternoon, pouring rain like the sky itself was crying for me. I had just been fired from the little cafe where I'd worked for 2 years. Budget cuts, my manager said, but I saw the way she avoided my eyes. 2 hours later, I pushed open the door of the apartment I shared with my boyfriend of 3 years. My clothes were soaked, my shoes squelched, and all I wanted was his arms around me. Instead, he was standing in the living room with my suitcase already packed. "Lily, I can't do this anymore," he said, voice flat. "I met someone else. You need to go." The words hit harder than the rain outside. I begged, I cried. I asked why today, why the same day everything else fell apart. He just handed me the suitcase and closed the door. I stood on the sidewalk in the cold downpour, phone dead, $22 in my pocket, and nowhere to sleep. That was the night I became homeless. For 2 weeks I survived on park benches and the back seat of my beat-up car. Every morning I woke up stiff and shivering, the smell of damp upholstery clinging to my hair. I washed my face in gas station bathrooms and applied for every job I could find. Nothing. My savings were gone. My family lived 3 states away, and had made it clear years ago they didn't want my drama. I was alone. Then, late one night, in a 2-4-hour McDonald's, I saw the ad on my cracked phone screen. Abandoned Victorian house, $5. Must occupy immediately. As is condition. Serious buyers only. The photos showed a beautiful old house with peeling paint and broken shutters, sitting on the edge of a sleepy town 2 hours north. The listing said the city was giving it away to anyone willing to pay the back taxes and live there for at least 1 year. I laughed through my tears. $5. It sounded like a trap. Or maybe a miracle. With nothing left to lose, I drove there the next morning. The house was worse than the pictures. Dust thick as fog, windows boarded. The smell of mold and old wood wrapping around me like a cold hug. But it had a roof, and a door that locked. I signed the papers with shaking hands, handed over my last $5 bill, and stepped inside as the new owner. That first night I slept on the bare floor with my coat as a blanket, listening to the wind howl through the cracks. I told myself I was safe. I was wrong. The noises started on the 3rd night. Soft scratching above the ceiling, like footsteps in the attic. I lay there frozen, heart hammering, whispering to the dark, "Please, just let me have this one thing." In the morning I told myself it was rats, but every evening the sounds returned gentle, almost careful. I started fixing what I could. I bought a cheap toolbox from the thrift store, patched holes with cardboard and duct tape, scrubbed decades of grime off the kitchen floor until my hands bled. Each small victory felt like hope, flickering back to life. On the 10th day I was prying loose a warped baseboard in the upstairs hallway when something shifted. A panel in the wall popped open a hidden compartment, no wider than my arm. Inside was a leather journal, yellowed pages tied with a faded blue ribbon. My fingers trembled as I opened it. The handwriting was elegant, old-fashioned. It belonged to the man who had built this house in 1972, Thomas Riley. Page after page he poured out his heart to a girl named Eleanor, his high school sweetheart. They had been torn apart by her strict parents. He wrote love letters he never sent, hiding them here, so no one would laugh at his broken heart. "If you find these," he wrote on the last page, "please give them to her. Tell her I never stopped waiting." I cried for him. I cried for me. I kept reading until the sun went down, the musty smell of old paper mixing with the rain outside. That night, the noises were louder right above my bed. I grabbed a flashlight, climbed the narrow attic stairs, and pushed open the dusty door. There he was, a tall young man, maybe 24, crouched in the corner with a sleeping bag and a small lantern. He looked as scared as I felt. "Please don't call the police," he whispered. His name was Alex, Thomas's grandson. He had been sneaking in at night for months, checking on the house his grandfather loved more than anything. After Thomas died, the family couldn't afford the taxes, so Alex convinced them to sell it for $5, hoping someone kind would restore it. He had left the journal behind on purpose, a final wish from his grandpa. But the real twist hit me like lightning. Alex had been watching from afar when I moved in. He saw how gently I treated the old place, how I talked to the empty rooms like they could hear me. He told me, voice cracking, I was supposed to just deliver the letters. But every night I heard you crying and fixing things with your bare hands. You reminded me of Eleanor the way Grandpa described her. Strong even when everything was taken away. We sat on the attic floor until sunrise, sharing our broken pieces. His grandmother Eleanor had passed away 2 years earlier, without ever knowing Thomas still loved her. My own heartbreak suddenly felt smaller next to their lifetime of quiet longing. Alex started coming during the day instead of hiding. He was a carpenter. He taught me how to repair the porch, how to seal the leaky roof. I cooked simple meals on the old stove and we ate by candlelight, laughing for the first time in months. One evening, while we were hanging the last of the love letters on the living room wall like a timeline of hope, Alex took my hands. "Lily," he said, "I sold this house for $5 because Grandpa's last words were, 'Give it to the girl who needs it most. Maybe she'll bring love back into these walls.' I think he was talking about you, and maybe about us." I kissed him right there, dust in my hair and paint on my cheeks, while the house creaked around us like it was finally sighing in relief. 6 months later, the Victorian glowed with fresh white paint and new windows. The hidden compartment is now a little display case holding Thomas and Eleanor's story. Alex and I live here together. The noises at night, just the wind and the old pipes, and sometimes the soft sound of two people who found each other because they were both lost. I still wake up sometimes thinking about that rainy sidewalk and the slammed door. But now I pull the blanket higher and feel Alex's arm around me. The house didn't just give me shelter. It gave me a home. It gave me the kind of love that waits decades in secret and still finds its way to you when you're ready. If you're out there tonight with nothing but a suitcase and a broken heart, keep going. Somewhere, a $5 house or a $5 chance might be waiting. And maybe, just maybe, the secret inside it is the person who was always meant to love you. I'm Lily, and this is my story. Thank you for listening. I kissed him right there, dust in my hair and paint on my cheeks, while the house creaked around us like it was finally sighing in relief. 6 months later, the Victorian glowed with fresh white paint and new windows. The hidden compartment is now a little display case holding Thomas and Eleanor's story. Alex and I live here together. The noises at night, just the wind and the old pipes, and sometimes the soft sound of two people who found each other because they were both lost. I still wake up sometimes thinking about that rainy sidewalk and the slammed door. But now I pull the blanket higher and feel Alex's arm around me. The house didn't just give me shelter. It gave me a home. It gave me the kind of love that waits decades in secret and still finds its way to you when you're ready. If you're out there tonight with nothing but a suitcase and a broken heart, keep going. Somewhere, a $5 house or a $5 chance might be waiting. And maybe, just maybe, the secret inside it is the person who was always meant to love you. I'm Lily, and this is my story. Thank you for listening.